because this is the seventh largest coin. There's a Solana filing, and then it was pulled out, and we have Bloomberg Intelligence, James Seyfarth, saying it was dead on arrival because the SEC is still really kind of against this. They're kind of skeptical, and actually this filing comes against the backdrop of two things. Number one, it comes after a judge ordered Ripple to pay $125 million after improperly selling their tokens as a fraction of the $2 billion SEC wanted. And number two, it comes against the U.S. presidential elections just a month away, and we know that the Republicans are viewed as more friendly towards crypto, so we also have people saying issuers will follow suit if Republican president becomes a president.
Well, and it would make sense as well to be able to diversify crypto, a broader crypto ETF, right? One that could hold Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana and Dogecoin and also Ripple.
There is that. You can diversify. I mean, for now, Bitcoin, the oldest and the most mature. When the conflict in Iran blew up, it was muted. So where's the hedge that people were looking for? So I think this is really, in a sense, space. Even the oldest coin is still not behaving as the way that proponents want it to behave.
Well,
so
that's arguable, right? Because when we went into the pandemic and the government started spending like a drunken sailor, the value of Bitcoin went up. I would say that's because people were worried about inflation.
Okay, fair. But the fact that it doesn't have a solid narrative is indicative of like how new it is.
Okay, very briefly, we're speaking of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin ETFs. You mentioned flows. Just give us an update a few months on how they're doing and what you're seeing.
It's great. We're seeing a net inflow of 18 billion. They've broken record after record, but I think the important thing is how Ether is not seeing that. So Bitcoin could be a one and done game, and you can't assume the same for other coins.
Tesla has actually tremendous capability in real world AI.
Yes.
In fact, it is very far ahead of anyone.
I know people actually on Twitter prior to our interview were saying, you know, he never gets asked about how advanced his AI is at Tesla. You always talk about the other names.
Tesla AI is, like I said, it's like, I'm not even sure who's second, frankly.
Why is that? What are people not understanding about what you have, and why are we talking so much about ChatGPT and generative AI at OpenAI and what Microsoft's going to be able to do with it, and not about Tesla?
I don't know. I mean, people do talk about it online. I think Tesla will have sort of a ChatGPT moment. Maybe if not this year, I'd say no later than next year.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry. You're going to have a
sort of ChatGPT moment.
Oh, you will. In terms of suddenly it will.
Yeah, suddenly 3 million cars will be able to drive themselves with no one.
Right. It goes back to that. Right.
Yeah, and then 5 million cars, and then 10 million.
Well, here's how I think about it, Andrew, is I think it will be difficult for Tesla to leapfrog existing players. Uber, Waymo, and others are doing level 4 robotaxi service today in multiple cities. Even if Tesla is able to leapfrog, I think it'll be a limited year advantage. So let's say in a year, Tesla has level 5 robotaxis. They can go anywhere. They have a ride-hailing service. My guess is competitors are going to catch up reasonably quickly. So this notion of having sustained outside profits, even if Tesla were to leapfrog given the technical hurdles and the regulatory hurdles, I think are difficult. And the valuation of Uber is $150 billion. The valuation of Uber, probably in the U.S. is half of that, $75 billion. Tesla stock today embeds, we think, $600 billion beyond the core auto business, much of that ascribed to robotaxi. So we struggle with that differential given the probabilities that I outlined.
But let me ask you this in terms of just the competition piece of it, which is to say, you made the argument that you think that Uber and a Waymo will have an advantage, maybe given LiDAR and other things, over Tesla. There is an argument to be made, and maybe you'll disagree with it, which is that they have a number of they have thousands, tens of thousands of these cars on the street today that have cameras on them. They're taking in data that can't really be matched. If you look at some of their self-driving features right now, they clearly seem to be the leader or the most advanced in terms of where that would be if you were to sort of set aside what Waymo is doing. Is there an argument to be made that they will leapfrog everybody and that they in some ways already have?
Well, I think the bull case is they will leapfrog. I think it's very difficult to say they already have because Waymo is doing 100,000 rides a month right now with essentially a perfect safety record in multiple cities. Tesla's nowhere close to that. If we look at intervention data from the state of California, where everyone is doing self-driving trials, and we look at that data compared to self-reported data from Tesla, because that's all we have available. Tesla hasn't provided anything in the public domain. Tesla is at best middle of the pack on intervention data. So I think we absolutely categorically cannot say that Tesla is the leader from a safety and intervention perspective in full self-driving. I think the hope is, as you say, that AI and their data stream will allow them to leapfrog and get there. But that's not where we are today.
Uber, Bitcoin, self-driving cars. Combine those three together, and you have the self-owning taxi. A car that is a corporation that owns itself, pays for the car lease, the car insurance, and the gasoline from the revenues it makes, giving passengers a ride, and there's not a single human involved in that matter.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher, and you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. Now, will the SEC approve Bitwise XRP spot ETF? And of course, the SEC is not going to do anything yet until the judge comes down and rules. And if the judge dismisses the case, that means that the spot ETF will get approved. And that means that XRP will have a spot ETF before Solana. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have the Robotaxi event on Thursday. And we have the CNBC guest, Tony, from Bernstein, playing the Hegelian dialectic. Because when it comes to all the technology that Tesla has, it is definitely ready for these robo-taxis. Even though Waymo definitely has a head start, Tesla has technology that hasn't even been exposed yet, and especially when it comes to GPS. Don't forget the Starlink satellites. Now, I want you to use your imagination, and this is how this technology is going to change everything. Use your imagination. Think about all the millions of cars sitting on parking lots right now that are not even being used. And just imagine if they were autonomous. All those cars would be put to work. That's an economy just in itself. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Now we have states now suing TikTok, saying that TikTok is preying on the kids and operates a legal virtual economy. But guys, when it comes to any social media, it's preying on the kids. And we know that was all done on purpose. Remember, social media is to connect you together forever. It's like a web. It's like a net. Some people are meant to come in your life for a season and leave. A lesson learned. But unfortunately, with social media, you get to see them every day. And I feel sorry for the younger generation. And these kids get addicted to these phones, social media, these games. And if you're a parent, keep your kids outside. I know a lot of you work maybe one job, two jobs. You're tired. You'd love to just sit and let the kids watch TV, play video games, get on social media because you get time to yourself. But you have to get out and be outside. Because with my kids, I keep them outside all day. Now, they have the PlayStation 5s, the Xboxes, the Oculus. But because I keep them outside, they may play it once every 4 months. I don't deprive them from it. I just give them another choice. And that was the genius of my mom. She was one of the best communicators ever. And you have to communicate with your kids also. That's another big thing. Like I stated, when you're working, you're hustling and bustling. Sometimes you leave that out. And we definitely see it when kids become teenagers. You have to communicate. My mom was a genius at it. My grandmother wasn't like that. She was because I said so. But she had 2 girls, and that's it. But when you have boys, and by the time they're 10 years old, they're bigger than you, that doesn't work. You got to communicate. But guys, we know all this when it comes to TikTok It's nothing but the Hegelian dialectic. They're not letting this algorithm go. It's the best algorithm on the market. But of course, they're going to use it to play the Hegelian dialectic because it's China versus the U.S. And then we have Hurricane Milton coming out of the Gulf. And how many videos have I done showing you they can control the weather? And of course, I wrote about it in the NWO book. So don't be surprised if you see weather wars. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Right, well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far, it works.
For young people, the TikTok platform is like digital nicotine. It's an addictive, dangerous product that lures young people into it, keeps their eyes glued to their screens for as long as possible, and then when young people are able to get off, lures them back. And that's all in furtherance of profits. The platform is designed to keep eyeballs on screens to drive ad revenue, and that's something that this lawsuit tries to tackle. We know that the impact on young people is severe in terms of mental health, in terms of loss of sleep and attention, rising levels of depression and anxiety. So this is a dangerous public health risk for our children across the country and certainly here in the District of Columbia. The lawsuit that I filed here in D.C., in addition, raises the fact that TikTok is engaged in an illegal, unlicensed money transmission business. In real time, money is being transmitted between people, and that TikTok coin function, when coupled with TikTok Live, is lending itself to dangerous behavior, unregulated behavior that other money transmission companies like Venmo or PayPal have a requirement for safety and oversight that TikTok is evading.
Hi, Dana.
Hi, good morning to you. So we are here on Naples Beach, where you can see the waves are a little calmer than what we saw yesterday. Mandatory evacuation orders went into effect starting this morning, specifically along zones A and B. Those are the ones closest to the coast, and also one area that is prone to storm surge and is very vulnerable. Officials are reminding people to take the storm seriously, prepare now, and evacuate when called to do so. We've just learned that President Biden has postponed his trip to Germany because of the intensity of the storm. And also, our weather unit has said that this storm is still projected to be a very major hurricane as it hits the coast of Florida. Right now, the wind speed, 150 miles per hour. Things can change at any moment, and it's still uncertain exactly where the storm could make the direct hit, where that eye of the storm could hit. But right now, you could experience impacts up and down the coast. Right now, we are about 150 plus miles south of Tampa, where the projected impact is supposed to be the greatest. And even here, they are warning of potential storm surge, possibly 4 to 7 feet, which could impact this area greatly. We're already seeing rain here, and this is from a totally different system from Milton, but that means more saturated ground, and this is just going to inundate areas that are already very vulnerable.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tanya save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tanya save New York from COVID 33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tanya goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.